something like this. Daytime better come correct. They ain't playing at your best, then you will get left. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. Something like this. I took her. She said we should hook up the boyfriend and booger. Don't know me, then look at I be in the clouds. Pull full of Henny, I drink and I drown. Daytime better come correct. They ain't playing at your best, then you will get left. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. Something like this. Daytime better come correct. about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Can you try to starters. One out of a million will reach those heights. Always had a feeling that I won't deny that work. Never could ties. Look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks. Rise. A couple milli now, I'm causing a commotion. I've been coasting, hear my name around the world like an explosion.
See, I the apocalypse and a pill that keeps us floating as we fly above the way too great to be standing.
They ain't never gonna stop us, fly by them like choppers. Better tuck those risks, hold one of my fists, we fire starters. Let's go. One out of a million will reach those heights. Always had a feeling that I won't deny that work. Never could toss. Look in my eyes, I'm on the rocks. Rise.
So
How's it going, everyone? Joe Bazraoui here. You're watching another episode of Cup of Joe. This is episode 6 now, and we have a great show for you tonight. I'm super excited for this. By the way, this is going to be the normal time that we'll be hosting this, which is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that's going to be a lot better for our viewers. It's definitely a lot better for Josh and I. And speaking of Josh.
What's up, everyone? Glad to be here.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be joining us for all of our shows now, and we are really, really excited to have him. We really are.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. So let's get this going. So Josh and I started off our weekend by trolling a little bit, right? So we decided to go to the Women's March here in Phoenix, Arizona, which was on Sunday, and we decided, let's just do a normal video. Let's just, interview some people, get the leftist views out there, and try to figure out what they're thinking and all the craziness, right? I mean, that's how we started.
Yeah, I mean, we just ended up bumping into a table of liberals that wanted to register illegals. Nothing surprising.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a great video. I mean, so if you haven't watched the video yet, please go ahead, go on my Instagram, go on my Twitter, at Joe Bazraoui. It's on the screen right now. Check out the video and share it. This needs to go viral. So let me give you a quick rundown as to what happened. So this was a last-minute decision with Josh and I of going and checking out this table called azblue2020.org, which I guess the whole purpose of their organization is to essentially register people to vote and specifically push left-leaning Democrat narratives. And we said, let's go ahead and let's check out the table and let's see if we can pose as non-citizens, not necessarily legal immigrants, but people who are not citizens, and try to register to vote. So why not? So we decided to go ahead and check it out. And once we went, we put on a fake accent. We said that we were students at ASU, that we weren't necessarily here legally, but we hated Trump and want to vote him out of office. That's pretty much how we started, right? I mean,
no, we said we want to vote Trump out of office. That's what we said.
Yeah, I mean that. We want to vote Trump out of office. We don't like Trump. So that's how we really started. And we said, is there any way we can register to vote? And the guy said, no, you're not citizens, whatever. But then we pushed and we pushed and we pushed just a little bit more. And turns out there's a way. There's a way we can get Trump out of office. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was really. I mean, to be fair, even though we didn't plan that, I wasn't awfully surprised by how willing that individual was to help register us, illegals. But at the same time, I've never seen it happen in person before, so it was like not surprising, but it was surprising at the same time.
So let's get into the process as to how we can vote illegally in at least the state of Arizona. And what it seemed like is that this is more of a national thing. So the way it works is he instructed us to go to the Secretary of State's office in Phoenix and look for a federal voter registration application and fill out said application and lie on this federal form that we are citizens. Looks like we had some technical difficulties here. I'm sorry about this, guys. Are we good? Someone hit me up on the chat. Are we good? Yeah, we're good now. Hey, I'm sorry about this, guys. All right. Hit us up in the chat real quick. All right, I think we're good now. Yeah, we're good now.
If I could just say, I think that the Russians were hacking us just now, but that's just there's no
you're not
behind
on
that
that.
allegation.
You're not on. You just clicked on your camera. You have to click cut.
Are we even on yet?
Yeah, we're live. So if you click cut, and then now you get transitioned in.
All right,
There
I'm in
you
control
go.
of this now. So what I was saying was,
Now
I
you-
think that
Click cut again, and then it goes back to me. Now all you have to do is click cut.
click cut.
What's up, guys? Sorry, we had some technical difficulties. Computer crashed. But
I would
Yeah,
switch
we're
the main
good now.
camera to camera 2.
we should be good now. How's the audio, guys? Send me some stuff in the chat. How's the audio? How's visual? How's everything? Are we lagging at all? We should be good. All right, well, I'll continue. So, anyways, he told us a way to register to vote, and whilst trying to register to vote, we pretty much have to go to the Secretary of State's office here in Phoenix, and going to the Secretary of State's office, we fill out this federal form, and this federal form allows us to register to vote as citizens, but we have to lie on the form, right? Lie on the form and say we're citizens, register illegally because they, quote, do not verify your citizenship, which then allows us to vote on only federal or presidential elections. So for many years, conservatives and people on the right wing have been saying that this is happening, but we've never gotten evidence. We've never gotten proof of this actually happening. So Josh and I were very happy that we actually got this. And it's absolutely incredible. And what's really interesting is you see Democrats are really pushing the sort of narrative that, illegal immigrants, they're people too, blah, blah, blah. They should be able to vote. They pay taxes. Well, first off, they don't really pay taxes. They pay, what, sales tax maybe?
Well, listen, Joe, I think you're undermining the impact that illegals have. I mean, as the Democrats say, who else is
Oh my
going to
God.
mow our lawns? I mean, why are you being so racist? Just let them do the dirty work.
Listen, okay, so they don't do the dirty work. Well, okay, they do the dirty work, but illegally is what I'm saying. They are not here legally. They're breaking the law, and they should not be able to vote in our elections. It's unconstitutional. Now, let's go ahead and try to figure out what was illegal here. So according to, I believe it's 52 U.S. Code 10307, subsection C, it says that if you were to unlawfully fill out a voter registration form, whether that's state or federal, or advise someone to do so, it is illegal. 5 years in jail, $10,000 fine, or both. So this guy committed a crime. He committed a federal offense, a complete federal offense. And this is happening every day. This is happening absolutely every single day. And what's interesting is Democrats talk about, no one is above the law. And they only say that when they're referencing President Trump. No one's above the law. No one, we need to hold Trump accountable for these foreign interference in our elections. But isn't us being illegal immigrants going to the voter registration booth and voting illegally as illegal aliens, foreign interference in our elections? Isn't that? But to Democrats, they'll only allow it if Josh and I, as illegal immigrants, vote against Donald Trump. That is the only way they'll do it. That's the only way they're okay with it, is if we are anti-Trump, and that is it. So, Josh, what are your comments on that?
Do you think that Democrats would be this generous to illegals if for some reason they were only voting Republican?
What?
I mean, all illegals are, human. They're not aliens. So, shouldn't they be just sympathetic if they were all voting Republican? Say we're the opposite, I'm saying.
Well, right. So, if it were the opposite, right, it would be, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. If you had a bunch of illegal immigrants that were going up to the table and saying, I want to vote for Trump, which, I mean, we should probably try that soon, right? Saying, we're illegal immigrants, we want to vote. Can I register Republican? Just saying that. I'm really curious to see what their reaction would be. And I honestly don't think that it would be a good reaction. I think they'll push us off. They'll tell us to F off. And I mean, I know that if I were to go to any, conservative organization that registers people to vote, I mean, Turning Point USA, they register people to vote. So does Students for Trump, they register people to vote. If I were to go to them saying I'm an illegal immigrant, they're going to say, well, no, you're an illegal immigrant. You're not allowed to vote in the States. And that would be it, whether they want to vote Republican or Democrat. But you have these AZ Blue 2020 type organizations that all they want to do is register illegals because they know that they're going to be anti-Trump. They know that they're going to be voting blue in the next upcoming election. And that's just the sad truth of it, because they know they can't win. The Democrats know they cannot win, so they have to bring in millions of illegal immigrants into the country and allow them to vote.
What drives me the most crazy, what gets me most upset about all this is that, you go back to past videos of Senator Harry Reid back when he was still in the Senate, but in his early days, or even Barack Obama when he was running for office, Hillary Clinton, all these high-profile Democrats who are to some extent still the faces of the Democrat Party, they were all gung-ho about enforcing the law. Illegals should not be allowed and they should be sent back. This was a mainstream view that was held. And even Bill Clinton, in one of his State of the Union addresses when he was still president, he talked about this too. And if you read the speech line for line, you would think that President Trump gave that speech, because it was the Democrats who gave up on fighting for these, standing up for the law. And now that mainstream view has become a partisan view only because they've given up on it.
I mean, you're completely right, Josh. So we need to really push on the Democrats and show the hypocrisy. So we can go back in time and we can look at then Senator Barack Obama when he talked about building some sort of barrier, a fence, and strengthening our border and strengthening our national security. And then you look at the modern Democratic Party, the Democratic Party of AOC and Ilhan Omar, and the new Nancy Pelosi, because she is brand new. She is now cool and progressive, Nancy Pelosi is this cool progressive aunt or grandma, that just wants free healthcare for everyone now. She wasn't always like this. I mean, she was just a very much so establishment Democrat. Now she knows that she's lost control of her party, and she's going full AOC and full Ilhan and full Rashida, and the Democrat Party has changed dramatically in the last year or two, really ever since AOC became a congresswoman. And we see this massive change that now they want open borders. Now they want illegals to vote. Now they're okay with sanctuary cities. I'm sorry, but we see do we not see an issue with this? This is unconstitutional. And by the way, you look at today's impeachment trial with senators and Democratic senators. Well, it's mostly the Democratic House, the Democrat Party House impeachment managers like Adam Schiff and others, that they are using the Constitution. And they're using the Constitution to argue for impeachment, yet they've got nothing. And they like to use the Constitution only if it's good for them. But if I were to go up to Shifty Schiff or Do Nothing Nadler right now and show him my video and say, what do you think about this? He would say, oh, well, there are people too. I'm like, well, come on. Look at the Constitution. The Constitution says very clearly that we wouldn't be able to vote if it was true that we were illegal immigrants or we weren't citizens. Oh, but but they pay taxes. They're pretty much citizens. They're world citizens. Whatever you want to call it.
Oh, so the Constitution is a little bit outdated, so I think we have to move on. Hey, Joe, my professor taught me that, and I believe him.
The argument that the Constitution is outdated is probably the worst argument I've ever seen.
We need a globalist government.
Get out. Just get out. It's you look. But what I'm saying is you see all these Democrats, and they use the Constitution for certain things, and then they use the Constitution for others. And it's hypocritical. It just doesn't make sense. And you see Republicans are very, very much so straightforward. They this is what the Constitution says. And we're going to follow the Constitution. Democrats will stop, rip, and burn the Constitution as much as they can just to get their own way. That's all they'll do, unless It benefits them. Unless they're able to make some sort of argument backed by the Constitution that they claim to be outdated, that they claim to want to amend and change our Constitution and say that the Second Amendment, yeah, I believe in the right to bear arms, but no, there's no but. There's no but in the Second Amendment. If I want an AR-15, I get an AR-15, and it's not the government's choice to tell me what I can and cannot have. You see these policies coming out specifically in state government where it's like, oh, well, we want to ensure that citizens have a, quote, safe amount of ammunition in their households. Well, what the hell is a safe amount, and who's going to determine this? We want to ban AR-15s because they pretty much look scary. I mean, that's pretty much it. They don't really have, a basis as to why they want to get rid of AR-15s. So they change it, and they change the Constitution, and they change the laws, and I don't think Democrats have an understanding of what the Constitution is based on. The Constitution is not based on the government giving rights to the people. It's God-given rights, inalienable rights that the government needs to protect for the people to have. That's the only point of government, is to protect the rights of the people and as well as protect the people from foreign and domestic threats. And that is it. That is it.
Yeah, as Reagan said, government is a necessary evil at best.
I mean, also, one of my favorite quotes from Reagan is, the scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And it's true. You do not want to trust the government. And, I have a shirt that says, I don't trust the government. And I wear it, and I have, it's funny. I see lefties, they look at my shirt, and they're like, oh, I like that shirt. I'm like, yeah, it's a Turning Point shirt. It's like, and they don't know. And they don't, and by the way, these are the same people that want government to have more power and more money. But they don't trust the government.
Yeah, it's really quite the paradox the left lives in, where they agree with us that a lot of the problems are coming from the government, but then their answer is we want more government. Sort of reminds me of that debate that Bernie Sanders and Ted Cruz had when they were talking about healthcare, when they were debating repealing Obamacare.
Yeah, and it's besides the fact, and we got to get back on topic here when it comes to the actual video that we did, which needs more attention, by the way. People, please go ahead and check out the video. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Twitter, @JoeBuzzRight. It's on the screen right now. Check out the video. Share it. Comment. Give me your thoughts and everything. And if you have any questions, please do hit me up or hit Josh up. And we will love to actually have your opinion. So, anyways, this is a real issue in America. We have illegal immigrants voting. And Josh, do you know the amount of illegal immigrants in America right now?
The estimated amount, I mean, you're never going to know the exact amount, but it's
Right.
like anywhere from like 11 to 34 million. I mean, there's no way of tracking it exactly, but that's like the estimate that I believe was floating around during the 2016 election. So I can only imagine it's at least there, if not more. I mean, it's a crazy number to throw out there, but there's just no other way of really estimating it.
Yeah, I mean, you take that number, and let's take the lowest number, which is 11 million people. That can tip elections. And that is very much so able to tip a presidential election right there, depending on where the illegal immigrants are. And they're mostly concentrated in places like California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, but you also see that happening in the Northeast. You see illegal immigrants going to Pennsylvania. You see illegal immigrants going to New York, Florida, and a lot of these swing states like Pennsylvania, Florida, Wisconsin. You have a large amount of refugees as well going to Minnesota. And I think that's actually the largest concentration of refugees in Minnesota.
Yeah, and when you mentioned how a lot of these illegals are coming over the border, it explains a lot about why all of a sudden Texas, Arizona, they're slowly becoming swing states. Texas used to be a reliable, strong, red Republican state, and now they're constantly marking it as more potential for the Democrats. And then you have Kirsten Sinema. She recently won her Senate race against Martha McSally. It's scary, the law is not being enforced, and it's to the Democrats' advantage. And even if for some bizarre reason, illegals were supporting Republicans, it wouldn't matter, because we still have to enforce the law. It doesn't matter who they support. It shouldn't have to be a partisan issue. Democrats have to wake up.
I mean, you take a look at the Republican policy versus the Democratic policy on immigration, that illegal immigration. The policy is, let's enforce the law for Republicans, and the policy for Democrats is, let's bring as many as we can in. And what I'm saying is, let's enforce and let's bring much fewer immigrants into this country, legal immigrants. Let's try to bring much fewer in. And I just recently saw, I don't know if it was the White House that posted it or something. It was that Arizona right now has the lowest ever illegal immigration crossings, lowest ever, and it's because of Trump's policies. It's because of the law. It's because of the wall that's being built. But by the way, any lefties watching, the wall's being built right now, and every single day it's being built. There's also more people donating to build the wall, and there's also Trump is getting more funding for the wall from Congress and from court rulings that allows Trump to receive these funds in order to build a wall to protect our national security, protect our border. I mean, what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, the leftists are going to have they're going to start making up, their little notions that, the wall's not even being built, Trump's doing nothing, he's lying to his base, he's not keeping his promises. I mean, they could say and believe whatever they want. It doesn't matter. We all know the truth. And
All right, guys, I'm sorry. I think we had some more technical difficulties. We have to figure this out for the next episode. So how are we going to do that? Why is this not working here? I'm sorry, guys. We're going to... I don't know why this is happening. Let me check Facebook real quick. Go ahead, put in the chat right now if you can hear me okay. I'm sorry, guys. I really am. It could be the new software I'm using, the multi-stream or whatever, or restream. Yeah, I'm sorry, everyone. Wow, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. All right, I just restarted a watch party on Facebook here. We should be good to go now. How's it going, everyone? All right, we're good. We're live. We're back. I'm sorry, guys. Really am. All right, let's get this started here. So we where we left off pretty much is we were talking about we were talking about the wall. We were saying that the wall is currently being built right now, and you know what, Josh? I think we should actually go down. I mean, we're only 2 hours, 3 hours from the border. I think we should go down and check out the wall. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good idea. Maybe we can even build some of the wall together.
I think that'd be pretty cool if we just build some of the wall. But we should definitely do a video. We should show the fact that Trump's policies are working. Maybe we can even, we should probably coordinate a video down there with DHS and try to figure out something with Border Patrol and get a video going.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do that.
Let me know in the comments right now if you want to see a video of us going down to the border, checking out the wall, talking to Border Patrol, getting their opinion on everything that's going on down there, the situation down in the border. So, anyways, voter fraud is a real issue. It's hitting America as we speak. Is able to tip elections, and you know what? What I think is really interesting, we see massive changes, like you said earlier, in Texas, in Arizona, which Arizona and Texas used to be traditionally Republican, and now we see Texas is going to a light red right now, and Arizona is pretty damn purple right now. And residents of Arizona, if you're listening, we need you guys to vote, and we need you guys to vote for the right person. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to be a Democrat. It's definitely not going to be a Democrat. Use your conscience here. Who is going to go out of their way to serve the people of Arizona, serve the people of the United States? Who is going to go out of their way to protect the Constitution, to protect our rights, and do their job and serve this country, not serve themselves, to place bills and vote for bills that are in the best interest for Americans all around, instead of for their own interests? This is really important. And we see on and on and on that Democrats have the reputation of voting in their best interest. We don't see Republicans doing that. Republicans are servants, and they understand that they're servants of the people, and that is what Congress is made for. Democrats, you see people like Maxine Waters that has been in office for 27 years and has passed 3 bills, and she's a millionaire. Bernie Sanders, a millionaire, in office for 25 years, millionaire. 3 bills. That's it. Both Democrats, both lefties, both lunatics. I'll tell you that. So, I'll tell you what. I mean, I think that the people are being shown. The people are being shown the light. That the Democrats aren't doing what they, anything for this country. What Democrats are doing is trying to destroy this country, if anything, economically, with security, with anything you really name it, with industry. They're killing industries, and they have no idea. Maybe they do have an idea what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe they actually know that they're trying to destroy this country, but that's exactly what they're doing. Whether they know it or not, that is exactly what Democrats are doing. They're destroying this country. I mean, Josh, what do you think?
No, I think you're exactly right. They are destroying this country. I mean, even when you see states like Arizona and Texas becoming more blue after, seeing election results because of the influx of illegals, it's not necessarily that the states are even becoming more Democrat. Think about it. It's that the states are becoming less American. When you have people from other countries flooding into our country is losing a sense of its identity and culture, and that's what's really happening. America to change a country is by destroying the current state of the state of what the country is like, how it thinks, our culture from the ground up, just like other past communist countries fell before they had to become communist. That's what people like Bernie Sanders are thinking. That's what I think.
It's actually really interesting you mention that because a lot of people wonder, why is the education system so left-leaning? And this is something I think it's really important to talk to, and I'll take a minute to talk about. So why is the education system in America so far left? And it's not only in higher education as well as in the high schools, middle schools, and elementary schools. And we see this across America, no matter where you're at. I saw a video last year. Actually, I was in Israel, and a friend of mine showed it to me. And it was a former Soviet KGB agent, or whatever they call themselves, doing an interview. This was after the Cold War. And if any of you guys know about the Cold War, not one shot was fired. It was more of a race, like a missile measuring competition. That's all it really was.
Some proxy wars.
Yeah, so it's pretty much a proxy war. But there is damage from the Cold War happening today. The way you change a country is by changing the education system, by indoctrinating an entire generation. And a generation is about every 17 years. So you indoctrinate an entire generation. You change the rest of the country. Now, it takes time. It's not immediate. It takes about 25 years or so, maybe less. So what happened? Soviet Union sent professors and teachers to America around the Cold War. And what they did was they indoctrinated students back during the Cold War and on about socialism and communism, and showing them how it's correct, how it's right, how it's best for the country, and it's the best thing ever, and capitalism is terrible and all kind of BS, right? And now we see a lot of professors doing that today, but they're all Americans, most of them at least. They're all Americans. So we see that when they were college students, they're being taught the same BS we're being taught today by Soviets. I mean, if I can find the video, I'll definitely share it on my social media, so make sure you do follow me on all social media platforms. It is absolutely incredible, and I think it's true. The education system wasn't always like this, and it's only become like this quite recently. When I say recently, I mean decades, but quite recently compared to our entire country. If you go prior to Cold War era, our country was probably the most patriotic it's ever been. well, after World War II, I think it's when patriotism really hit hard in this country. And now we see people on college campuses, not only students, but as well as professors, that hate this country. They hate what this country stands for. They hate what this country's, was made for. And that's, these professors, they believe this wholeheartedly, and they're teaching this to our students. And our students are being taught to hate America, no matter what. No matter what. We talk about lowest black unemployment ever. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. They absolutely hate it. They talk about, best economy ever. They hate it. Lowest unemployment. Hate it. Securing our border. Hate it. Killing a terrorist. Soleimani. I like to call him Salami, but, they hate it. They mourn for him.
Yeah, and we also, we killed an austere religious scholar. That goes by the name al-Baghdadi. I think, it was terrible when we did that.
Oh, God.
We're a terrible country.
Oh,
how could we do that?
Don't even get me started on that. That is okay. That is a load of BS, Josh. I mean, I'm telling you right now. So, what was it? Was that Washington Post or New York Times?
I think that was. I can double check right now, but I think it was the Washington Post.
I think it was the Washington Post. I mean, when we killed al-Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, they called him a scholar, and was it an austere scholar or something like that? A religious scholar. The guy's a terrorist, and with Soleimani, the guy's a terrorist, and they're mourning for his death, and it's horrendous. It's just disgusting, the fact that when Obama killed Osama bin Laden, everyone was cheering. They're like, hell yeah, we killed the bastard. But then now Trump's killing terrorist after terrorist. And it's like, oh my God, we need to mourn for these people. This guy was a religious scholar. He wasn't ISIS. Oh no, ISIS is just a mosque over in Iraq. No, that's not how this works. It's the guy's a terrorist. He was not a religious scholar. He was a radical Muslim terrorist. You gotta say it. You just gotta say it. He's a radical Muslim terrorist.
Yeah, I don't think these fools on the left even realize that. Well, going back to the comment you made about Bin Laden, it's like those operations searching, to kill Bin Laden, that started under President Bush. It was done under President Obama because those searches, they kept going on, those operations. And yeah, like you said, the left is celebrating how they killed him and everything. And Bin Laden, Trump is killing, terrorists today. And this terrorist, al-Baghdadi, before founding ISIS, he was in Al-Qaeda. So I thought we were at least in agreement back then that Al-Qaeda was a terrorist organization. What's happening now?
According to the modern-day left and the modern-day Democratic Party, I mean, ISIS is not that bad. And according to Ilhan Omar and some people in the Democratic Party, some people did something. Or what did she say? Yeah. Some people did something.
Yeah.
Some people did something in 9/11. This is the modern-day Democratic Party. They have no patriotism whatsoever. They hate this country, and it pisses me off. It just absolutely pisses me off, and there's more people coming out on social media and on college campuses. They're just coming out, and they're hating this country over and over and over again. And this is a problem. What happened to this country?
Well, you have to wonder what happened to this Democrat Party first, because this country, like when you go back to the topic of immigration, illegal immigration, it was an issue that there was no partisan divide on. Democrats abandoned us there. So what happened to this country in every instance is the Democrats abandoned us. They abandoned their principles and standing up for what's right. And that's why they've morphed into this radical, communist party, whatever you want to call it. They just don't stand up for anything.
Yeah, I mean, the morals and values of the modern day Democratic Party are so bad. And it's not like they don't have a reputation of having bad morals and values. They're the same. The Democratic Party today is the same party that signed the Jim Crow laws. They're the same party that signed the slavery, every single pro-slavery law back in the 1800s. They're the party that just put blacks down. They're the party that, what was it, Clinton? That pushed the crime bill that affected African Americans across the country. And now Trump's fixing it. Oh, criminal justice reform, which is something that Democrats have been pushing for so many years during the Obama administration. Now they hate it because an orange man in the White House that happens to have an R next to his name is doing it. Do you see how the Democratic Party has flip-flopped Trump can cure cancer, and they will go in the streets with signs saying we have the right to have cancer. Trump can say, I love oxygen. Oxygen's the best thing ever. And then they'll start suffocating themselves with bags over their heads in the streets of Washington. That's exactly what they'll do. This is just a modern-day left, a modern-day Democratic Party.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound kind of bad, but I mean, maybe Trump should, announce it once and see what happens. Maybe they're going to finally just start supporting Trump, or maybe they're really going to choke themselves. Who knows?
I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it's one of the and Charlie Kirk says it all the time. I mean, what does Charlie say? Charlie said, "I think Trump should identify as a woman for one day, and that is it. And the left and Democrats must call him Madam President, and they have to refer him in the history books as the first woman president. You think about that. What's going to happen? They're going to say, no, it's BS. No, he's not a woman. He's not a woman. Wait, what happened to your inclusivity? What happened to maybe that's what Donnie feels like. Donald feels like a woman today, and you're going to allow him to feel like a woman. It's going to show the insanity behind the whole gender BS that, a man cannot be a woman, a woman cannot be a man. If Trump just does that for one day, I'm okay with dying after that, because that I've seen everything.
By the way, on that note, talking about that, recently, the state of New Jersey they started mandating. Boy. Yeah, my home state, guys. I'm sorry. They started mandating LGBTQ education in all public schools over there.
So okay, here's how I feel about the whole education system with the schools mandating LGBTQIA alphabet soup, whatever you want to call it, education. It's okay to learn about it. It's like okay, but why do we have to put a mandate on it? It's like if a kid has a question, right? A kid has a question. And by the way, I want to know what grades we're talking about here. If it's first grade, I'm like, hell no. Like, you're not teaching that sort of stuff. If we're talking about high school, okay, we can talk about it in history class, for example, but like, I'd say that it's one of those things that you kind of like go over for like not even the full class time. You're just like, yeah, there's gay people in America, and then you talk about like, yeah, this was the first openly gay person, and then you just move on. Like who cares? But if there's questions, right? If they have questions about it, then yeah, of course, as a teacher, your duty is to answer those questions. But I don't understand why there has to be a mandate about it.
Yeah, well, what's really messed up about this, as it is, forget the mandate. Parents don't have a real say for what their kids are allowed to learn when they send them off to public school. Big government never wants anyone to have control over anything except for them to have control over it. That includes their own children. They don't want parents to have as much influence over young people as they do, and that's a very scary thought. Again, it goes right back to what a lot of communist countries did when they started to influence. What would they want to accomplish 17 years from now by doing this right now?
Well, I mean, you look into modern day education system. I mean, you can only think now. What is America going to look like in the next generation? I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, just to think about it is scary. What's America going to look like in 20 years? In 20 years, I mean, God willing, we're going to be alive and we're going to be well and we're going to still live in the greatest country in the world. But what is it going to look like? How many little socialists are going to be running around the streets? Openly socialist. How is their country going to change? What sort of candidates are going to see running for office?
I'm calling it right now. They're going to have to mandate only 2 Halloween costumes from the ages of 3 to 17 years old. They're going to be only Warren and Bernie.
Warren Bernie. I mean, we'll talk about the election in a minute because I can go off on that. But it's scary to think about what is America going to look like in 20 years. You're seeing it right now happen. This is the just the beginning right now, and how is our country going to react to this? It's going to be insane. Let's quickly talk about impeachment. We've already had a couple days of impeachment trials in the Senate, and nothing's happened. That's all we have to talk about, really, on impeachment. Yeah, let's move on. So, anyways, there's nothing. There's nothing. They found nothing. Democrats are bringing back the same witnesses that they did in the House, and they all never spoke to Trump except for like one dude, and that guy said, Trump said no quid pro quo, and that's it.
Yeah, and their only chance for getting some support from the GOP in the Senate was from Senator Lisa Murkowski from Alaska, and even she recently said today that she was offended by Congressman Adler's remarks. So something tells me they don't stand a chance in the Senate. I don't even know what the strategists were telling the Democrat leaders in the House and Senate in the first place. It was just a complete waste of time for both sides.
I mean, you can also you could also say, I mean, Republicans are actually getting some support from two Democrats right now, from two specific Democrats, and that is actually Sinema here in Arizona, and as well as what's his name? Manchin, yeah, from West Virginia, because they're moderate Democrats, and they seem to be taking. I mean, Sinema has not commented on impeachment quite yet, but the senator of West Virginia, he has said that he is going to keep a completely open mind here, and he is going to vote with what his constituents want. And West Virginia is pretty damn red. And I'm surprised that he's been elected, to be honest with you. But as a Democrat, he seems pretty good for the Republican side. Either way, without Sinema and Manchin, like, Republicans are fine. They're not going to get 2/3 of the Senate. So, I mean, we'll be fine, God willing. I mean, nothing's going to happen. And that's our impeachment news for the day, to be honest. I mean, don't even watch it. Don't even watch it. Just avoid it completely. Because there's nothing new. There's nothing worthwhile. There's it's just the same BS being spoken over and over and over again. Oh, and then we got Shifty Schiff. You know, today, or was it yesterday? I forgot. He started off his opening statement with a joke about imprisoning senators. How inappropriate. How inappropriate is that? That's just disgusting. But that's Schiff. That's just Shifty Schiff. There's a little Adam there. And as well as, I'll tell you what, that it's also just the Democratic Party. They're okay with this sort of language. But let's move on from the stupid impeachment trial, this impeachment hoax and sham and BS. That's not going to pass. Nothing's going to happen. But anyways, let's talk about the election. I don't know if you saw the video, Josh. It was Elizabeth Warren had an interaction with an Iowa voter. I think it was yesterday, and it was a father of his daughter's in college, and he said, you go ahead, you tell me, you're going to cancel student debt. Am I going to get my money back from all the money that I've saved throughout my years? Am I going to get my money back from all the money that I put in, because I haven't, we're not taking out loans. I invested into my daughter to go to college. Am I going to get my money back? She said, of course not. I said, oh, so you're telling me I'm screwed? And he went off on her. If you haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter right now. Just go on Twitter, you'll see it. And I retweeted it on my Twitter account. You definitely check it out. Elizabeth Warren just accidentally exposed what socialism really is. It takes away the value of hard-working Americans and just gives it to lazy people who just don't care. Like that man, he is a good father. He saved money for his daughter to get some sort of higher education. Good for him. But that's not a lot of Americans out there. A lot of Americans are like, they don't save money for that. They don't have some sort of savings account for their kids or whatever. This guy, he worked his butt off to make sure his kid goes to college. And it's people like him, responsible, hardworking Americans, that are going to suffer under socialism and under people like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. I mean, Josh, you seem eager to say something.
Practically a bag of lies, and more people need to realize that they can't fall for the trap that those poor people in Venezuela fell for, and many other countries prior to them. You don't get a second chance. Once socialism strikes, it's over. That's why, you look at a small example in our country would be our healthcare sector, which is a sixth of the economy. We did implement something somewhat socialistic. That's Obamacare. And look at how hard it is to repeal that, to fix that, to get it out. Because once government gets its tentacles into something that was once private, it's very hard to pull it out. And that's why we're in this healthcare mess right now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at any. I'll ask a question to the audience. Name one thing that government has done correctly. One thing, efficiently, correctly, anything. Name one. I never get anything. The education sucks. The roads suck. Medicare, Medicaid, they suck. Social Security sucks. Everything sucks. Anything that the government gets their hands on turns to crap. That's all it really is. I mean, right, Josh?
Yeah, no one should know better than the people in New Jersey that the roads really suck. So I don't know why you would support the government over there. You got to work on kicking Phil Murphy out.
Yeah, Phil Murphy, what a guy. Wasn't the first thing he tried to do was take away AR-15s?
No, that's like his Saturday hobby. Yeah.
Saturday hobby.
His Saturday hobby is to pull a bait and be like, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s. That's Phil Murphy. That's his Saturday hobby. It's just take away people's guns and to just stomp on the Second Amendment.
I mean, the funny thing about Phil Murphy, I mean, he's not even really governor half the time. Sheila Oliver, the lieutenant governor, she's like the acting governor, like three days out of the whole week. He's like going to his villa in Italy because he's so rich, you know.
Are you serious? Like, is he like not really active?
Yeah, no, like she's really the acting governor at least like once a month. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
That's insane. That's sad. That's a governor right there of a pretty major state, New Jersey, with a rather large population and a lot of industry there, and you're not even working half the time. That's so crazy. Wow. Phil Murphy, everyone. Phil Murphy. Oh God. Let's start with the Q&A, shall we? I typically get some really interesting questions, and I already got one. Oh boy. I hope you're watching right now so you get my reaction on this. Show me your bobs and vagine. That is an actual question here. No. Okay. I like this question. All right. So this is for both Josh and I here. When did you become a Republican? And what sources do you have? Also, love your vids. Oh, I'm sorry. There's like no grammar there. I was so confused. All right. So when did you become a Republican and what sources do I have? And thank you for supporting all the videos and stuff. So I became a Republican at birth, really. My family, they are conservative with values, but they're rather apolitical. They vote still. They do a whole civic duty part, but they never really were in any campaigns. They never really participated in politics. I mean, I took my parents through a culture war. That's the most political they've ever gotten. But they do watch like Fox News and stuff. So since birth, really, I was a Republican, and I really got into politics later on in my life when my Democrat aunt ran for city council, actually, back in Pennsylvania, and she got me into politics because she would take me sometimes to meetings, city council meetings, and I fell in love with the concept of politics. Really enjoyed it. She's a blue dog, by the way, so she's not crazy leftist, but she's great. And sources that I typically go to for anything when it comes to debates, when it comes to articles, when it comes to anything, government websites are fantastic for that. So you go on FBI UCR, which is the Uniform Crime Report. If you're looking for anything on gun violence or specific areas that have a lot of gun control, you can actually target specific areas. I really like the FBI UCR. You can go on the Border Patrol websites and check out anything when it comes to illegal immigration. And as well as the House has a fantastic part of their website, which is all U.S. codes. So you just Google anything regarding a U.S. code. So you can put U.S. code on voter fraud or U.S. code on voter registration, and it'll come up. And you're able to get the U.S. code, everything you need on there. And as well as Cornell is a fantastic website for anything regarding law. What about you, Josh?
So I always grew up I grew up in a conservative household, and as I became older and became more aware of what's going on around the world, I found myself to be a conservative. That's what I would identify as pretty much my whole life, and that's not really necessarily even from a ideological perspective, as a label. It wasn't like that. My grandparents. So when my parents were kids, my grandparents decided to move out of the Soviet Union. They grew up in a communist country. And listening to their stories about what it's like under a different kind of system, under a communist system, it always became, you know, it was always common sense to me that, you know, we should do everything we can to preserve capitalism. And when you look at which party is doing more to promote socialism and which one is doing more to protect capitalism, it became very apparent to me I should be a Republican. And I also want to point out one interesting realize had a professor, not a professor, a substitute teacher come in, and she asked all of us, "How many of your parents like to watch news, guys? Raise your hand." And you know, we all rose our hand. My parents like to watch news. I rose my hand, and then she's like, "All right, well, make sure to tell all of your parents that if they love to watch the news, the best place to watch their news is CNN." And I was trying to be a good kid, and I wanted to make my dad happy. I wanted to say, "Hey, Dad, I know you like the news. You should watch CNN." I didn't know better, and that's when my dad told me, "Wow, they said that to you?" And he explained to me, like, "This is wrong. They shouldn't be telling you to say this to us. They shouldn't be saying anything about CNN or Fox. You know, this isn't in their place." I was in the 4th grade when that happened, and at that moment I realized, wow, they're really trying to control the way we think from such a young age, and I'm grateful. And you know, I'm grateful that I was able to be raised by, you know, such honest parents that were able to make me aware of that from an early age.
That's absolutely hilarious and actually really disgusting. That you're a 4th grade and a teacher said, "Go tell your parents to go watch some." Your substitute teacher said, "Go watch some CNN." What the hell? Like why? Why would that be even a thing in the 4th grade? I remember in the 4th grade it was McCain and Obama were running against each other, and it was really interesting. We had a mock election in our school, and I said, "I'm going to go ahead and campaign in the school for McCain." As a 4th grade, I was going around in lunch to each table saying, like, "Hey, do you like your guns? Like, do you want low taxes?" And these kids, they have no idea what they're talking about. Like, I didn't know what I was talking about. Like I just thought like guns were cool, and I was like, "Obama wants to take our guns. Oh no, vote for McCain." And then I just knew taxes were bad, and I was like, "Yeah, campaigning at a very young age." But anyways, that's really crazy. That's really absolutely crazy. Our next question is really interesting, and I think that we both have a lot of different, good answers for this one. How to deal with your libtard friends? So, when I was in college, I dealt with a lot of libtards, whether they were friends of mine or not. How to deal with them is literally what I tried to do was not really avoid politics, but I avoided bringing it up first. So if they were to ask me my opinion on X, Y, and Z, I will give it to them and I'll debate them, but debate them civilly. And if they start getting crazy, be like, whoa, remember, we're friends here. Just relax. We're just having a conversation, whatever. It's different when you're dealing with a random-ass person, right? I mean, when you're dealing with a friend of yours, it should be a little bit more cordial. Really just kind of not avoid politics, but don't really bring it up because what is that going to do for you? Invite them to Turning Point events if you're in Turning Point. Invite them to college Republican events if you're in college meeting, because they're not, because they don't want you there. We want liberals, we want leftists to come to our meetings and show them what we actually stand for. That we're not racist Nazis, but they are always going to think we're racist Nazis. That's the difference. And it's also, it'll be interesting if they actually come to the meetings. So, what do you think, Josh?
All right. Well, libtard is a very strong term. If they are libtards, don't even waste your time. Don't even bother with that. You can do better things that day. But if it's, let's say, a friend of yours that's not, like I have a friend who isn't his own conclusions, and honestly, it tends to open my mind up a little bit sometimes, and that's a good thing. You want someone to challenge your stance on different positions and just any sort of topic in general throughout life. So just like Joe said, have a cordial discussion with them. But the ones that are like really libtards, like kill the rich, don't even waste your time.
I mean, I would say don't even be friends with those people. I mean, if your friend happens to disagree with you on politics and really, really hates you for it, they're not real friends, right? True friends are going to support you in whatever you do, really, truly. I mean, they can advise you to do differently, but they'll support you no matter what you do. Here's the last question I'm gonna choose, and then we're gonna head out because we've been doing this for almost an hour now, so we should probably cut this a little bit. do you think Trump will win the popular vote? I like this question a lot because this is very, very, very interesting. So, my short answer, yes. But not by much. I don't think by that much. He lost by 3 million last time. I think this time he'll win the popular vote as well. Reason why is because the approval rating of Congress is extremely low, and Congress is you hear a lot more from Democrats than you do from Republicans in Congress. But I will say that there's still a lot of people out there that are iffy about Trump, and I think that I think the Democrats' narrative is going to benefit Trump a lot. I mean, Trump's going to win the Electoral College no matter what, but popular vote, I think so. I think so, but not by much. Josh, what do you think about this?
You can never know for sure. I think he's going to win regardless. I definitely think he'll win the popular vote too this time. I go off of everything you said, but also that I want to add his approval rating among the Republican Party is about 95%. Right? When you think about 2016, what a chaotic primary that was to get nominated for the Republican ticket. He didn't even win the majority. He won the plurality of Republicans. So think about how many Republicans were not inclined to vote for him in that general. Now take those and add it up. And then you take all the independents that switched since then, and even probably Democrats who've switched since then. Something tells me that there are going to be a lot of people voting for Trump that didn't vote last time, and he's going to lose very few that voted for him last time. So, yeah, I think he'll win the popular.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Josh. I think he's definitely going to. And there are a lot of Democrats that are changing Republican, especially because of this impeachment process, and as well as you see a lot of blue dog Democrats going to Republican Party, or at least going to vote for Trump, simply because they hate the way that the party that they so loved for so many years has gone because of people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. And I've been seeing, actually, I don't know if you've seen the same thing, but I've been seeing a lot of Jewish Democrats that have been waking up recently. It's not in numbers that I wish, but there is a Jexodus happening. we can't be Jexit, right? Because we had an Exodus. So it's Jexodus, right? But there's a Jexodus happening. It's a slow one, but it's happening, and a lot of it has to do with the anti-Semitism coming from the Democratic Party, and the blatant anti-Israel rhetoric coming from the Democratic Party from heads like Rashida, AOC, and Ilhan Omar. So that's my answer to that question. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah. To my fellow Jewish Democrats, I love you, but wake the hell up.
Yeah, honestly, wake the hell up, because you're wasting time right now. You're wasting time where you're at right now. The Democratic Party hates Jews. Let's be honest here. They really do. They hate Israel. They're not Zionist. That's pretty much all I got to say about that. Anyways, I want to thank every single one of you for sticking on for the whole show. Please follow myself and Josh on all social media. Our handles are on the screen, so please do. Wow. Please do check us out, and I'll see you next week. See ya.
Peace.